It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
We are in here. Cats Talk Wednesday. Terry TV Brown, Vinny Hardy, BS3 Network, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Tune in and watch wherever you want. Listen wherever you want when we're done on any podcast platform you want. It's all there, whatever. Roku, if you want to watch, you can do that too. People have taken pictures of us on their screen TV. Isn't that something? So glad to be here. We already know what we're gonna be talking about. We got wounds to lick. We talk a little hockey with our boy Craig Bates, and with we got a Sparty beat down. It wasn't Zion proportion, but it wasn't pretty either in the Champions Classic. The Garden was unfriendly again because the Cats was out there just getting dusted, man.
Yeah. Look, everybody's heat of the moment and everything like that, but two big games, 2 Tuesdays in a row,
Yes.
and for whatever reason, I think last night was 17-14, Louisville
Yeah.
something similar, and then Louisville and last night Michigan State goes on like a 26-5 run or something, and the game is over at that point. And yeah, man, like I think it's too early to pull the plug on Pope. I've never been on the fire this coach, fire that coach bandwagon, but some questions got to be asked, man. Like we were talking about before we got on, I saw somebody putting out there, picture of Cal, Coach Cal, miss me yet? No, like, look, man, it was time for him to go. Let's just be clear. And we know what it was at the end. I don't think that's a fair comparison. I think we should look at year one to year one, year two to year two.
Mm-hmm.
The scary thing for me from what I have seen is, and the way that's a Freudian slip. The way Pope puts his rosters together is, I'm used to Kentucky having the best player on the court most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was clear we weren't that against Louisville. That was Brown, no relation, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then last night,
I couldn't even appreciate that tweet you put out about because it was just, I mean, you had to do it as a Brown. I ain't seen a Brown hoop like that, but I was so stabbed to the heart because we were losing to Louisville. I couldn't even.
Yeah.
I ain't even like it, retweet it. I ain't even interact with. I just act like I ain't even see it. I just kept scrolling.
I had to do something through the pain, right? But I think that is different. I mean, going back to the Patino days with Mashburn and Delk and all those guys, like, it's usually that Kentucky has the best player on the court. That's when Kentucky is Kentucky, right? And I shared this, I think, last week. My concern was with this roster construction, were we going to be like those mid-2000s Atlanta Hawks? Win 60 games, have a bunch of very good players, but then get put out of the playoffs by LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we have seen is that. And looking at the rest of the schedule, we may not have the best player on the court. I'm talking big games, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I'm talking about Eastern Illinois and things like that. I'm talking about these big games, and that's a concern for me.
No.
I know people wanted this. They for whatever reason they got tired of NBA players coming through Lexington. Okay, but you need that caliber person to get this done. And basketball, sometimes when things are going bad, you need what I call go get a bucket guy
Mhm.
or gal if you're on the women's side, right? Like, hey, the shot clock's winding down. Here you go. And
Yeah.
it's not Oway because he's not going to be that person. He needs shooters around him to give him space. And when the
Mhm.
shooting is bad and they can sag off, the offense is terrible.
Mhm.
This can't be what we signed up for. Like it can't be this. And I know last year was great. Uh, last year was good, made us feel good. And this was my biggest fear bringing in a former player to do this. That we were going to let nostalgia and emotion kind of color our perception of what was going on.
Mm.
And what I mean by that, was it good to get back to the Sweet 16 for the first time in what 4 or 5 years, whatever it was? Yes, absolutely, it was good. But Sweet 16s, that's not what the assignment is. So you say that was pretty good, but that ain't what we're here for, right? We're here for the things that put banners in Rupp Arena. And it's not Sweet 16s.
Mhm.
It's not being down 20 points in consecutive big time matchups. I, it hurt my spirit. They came back from commercial, and Jay Billis last night was like, well, if Kentucky can get it to 10, what are we doing?
Mm.
And look, I don't know if there's player friction or what it is, but you got to fix it because some of the things I saw last night, Seth Davis is like, he's got a brand new squad. Buddy, the previous coach had a new team every year, and for a while that worked. So we know it does. It can work when you
Mhm.
reshuffle from year to year, right?
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it. Talking about the $22 million NIL payroll. That's just going to be an albatross. Man, again, the
Mm.
previous coach, every year, top recruiting class, that hangs over the top of you. If you don't get it done, you're going to hear about, that's a top rated recruiting class. How'd you not get it done? That's what the job is. Is it right? I don't know. Is it fair? Probably not. This is the job. And my last point is, again, to be clear, I am rooting for the University of Kentucky across the board. I want number 9 on the men's side. I want number 1 on the women's side. I
Mhm.
want the men's soccer team, as I'm wearing my soccer jersey, I want
Yes.
the men's soccer team to win in the tournament. I was rooting for the women's soccer team against Louisville in their tournament. I'm all cats everything. But what I will say is there's a difference between playing at the University of Kentucky men's basketball and coaching. And again, I'm rooting for him. I hope it works out. Uh, but we have seen it not work out more than it has worked out.
Mm.
When you think about alumni coaching, what you got Shire at Duke right now, but I think the jury's still out till he gets over that hump, right?
Mhm.
Hubert Davis, great first year, but there was a stretch where North Carolina has been terrible
No.
compared to their standard, right? We saw Kenny Payne at Louisville,
Mm.
Chris Mullen at St. John's, Patrick Ewing at Georgetown, Clyde
Yeah.
Drexler at Houston, right?
Mhm.
Penny Hardaway is a different animal because he's alum and a hometown kid. It's a little bit
Yeah.
different, but they would probably tell you they thought things would be different with the kind of kids that he got in. He was getting
Yeah.
some NBA dudes there.
Mhm.
So I want it to work out. We need it to work out, but hey, this ain't hitting. I know a lot of top 15 wins and all this kind of stuff, but what I know is when it comes to the top elite, we're getting pushed around. We saw that in the
Yeah.
loss against Tennessee in the tournament. Saw that in the SEC tournament. Saw that this last couple of weeks here. It is a concern
Mhm.
on how Kentucky's getting pushed around.
Yeah. Yeah. And not good at anything right now. I said it earlier on Believe in Kentucky that this is kind of in reverse. If you did first year to first year, and we've seen people do that. Like Charlie Weiss in his first 30 games compared to Tyrone Willingham in his first 30 games. That kind of thing. This, if we're gonna have this, taking your lumps and looking overwhelmed and over your head, you think that should be year one when you just getting in and you're kind of behind the 8 ball on getting a roster, and you came in like you said, felt good, overachieved, won some of these ranked games, then kind of made everybody think, oh, okay. And now in a more normal off season, more time to construct a roster, and now we out here just. I mean, we can't rebound, we can't pass, we can't shoot, we can't, And look, he's catching it, and he been acting weird. He been press conferences weird, saying stuff kind of weird, and we all just talking just like there is social media now, but we talking just like we would. I go to my granddaddy's house and go upstairs, and he got the cats on, and he fussing at the TV. I go to my granny's house and talk to my aunt. Good or bad, first thing, well, Mashburn kind of struggling. This is years ago, but the cats are doing great, right? Whatever it is, we talk about it. Fair or not, social media's everywhere. He's hearing it. But he's in them group texts with his teammates. He catching it from all the guys he played with. Anthony Epps was tweeting last night. He was like, for the love of God, guard the 3-point line. I know it's early, but that defensive effort was hard to watch. This dude fed him the rock on the way to a chip. And so...
and that's why it's a tough situation, right? You're bringing in a championship-winning player, and he's engendering all this love from his teammates and other legends and fans like ourselves, remember watching and all this kind of stuff.
And his teammates weren't super fans of the previous coach, and no doubt are happy that he's in there. And now,
and look, I'm gonna give Pope some grace. I'm not on the fire Pope bandwagon.
Right.
I saw somebody tweet out whatever his buyout is. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm concerned that 2 big games in, and I know it's November, not even Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I'm allowed to be concerned that we getting pushed around a little bit right here, and this is not going to get it done.
And all right, so Pope is all about the analytics. So is Alabama. We saw, they were clearly way better last year. Pat Kelsey in Louisville, he's all about the analytics. He had his team, credit to him. He had his team very efficient. They were shooting the rock last week in the Yum. So Louisville is that up and down kind of team. Michigan State, that ain't Michigan State. They ain't analytical. They ain't shoot the lights out, kill you from 3. They a Big Ten traditional physical beat you up team, and they hung 83 on us. So we can't handle neither type of style of ball right now.
I know they were shooting 20% from 3 coming in, but after the first 3 or 4, you got to shift what you do. Because I get it, you want to play the numbers. I get it, play the numbers. But at some point, you let a bad shooter. This is basic pickup basketball. You do like this, you wave off somebody, and then he shoots it. Now I got to change what I do. Mm-hmm. Now I got to close out high hands and strong, run them off that line. That to me, that's an effort thing. That's not scheming. That's effort. What we saw from Louisville, it's effort to not get screened. Mm-hmm. That's effort. Rebounding is effort.
Mm-hmm.
And the rebounding effort was piss poor.
Yeah.
A lot of I also be like, you miss Oscar yet? Because rebounding is just effort.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's still getting 30 rebounds in the G League. Whatever. Like, I the my concern is with older players, and the team's
Mm-hmm.
a little bit older. Are we going to see that jump?
Yeah.
Because I know we can't really go back to the old coach, but when he had it firing, we would see that jump from the November games, December, and humming, come February. Last year, I thought the team stayed basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good team, but basically the same. My concern is, are we going to have that jump? Maybe, a Jasper Johnson makes a jump. Malachi Moreno, who's probably the best big right now,
Oh yeah.
makes that jump. But, some of these players, two or 3 years in, they kind of are what they are.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned, just at the playground, if a guy hit 3 or 4 shots on me, you whoever else on my team will be like, "Hey, Vin, you need to switch. You need me to get it. You got him. You got him." And I mean, some kind of conversation.
It's a
is
little bit of pride, right? Like, hey, your man done hit. Come on now, and that's the thing is just have a little bit of pride in what you're doing. So I don't know what's going on. Last Thursday, at his media availability, Pope was talking about something that happened before the Louisville game, but was
Mm-hmm.
very vague. That ain't gonna get it done. Either you tell us what happened,
Yeah.
or you keep it to yourself. Then the other day, he's quoting Taylor Swift lyrics. Look, man, you say that you understand. I'm gonna tell you something right now about the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Don't be sitting here talking about Taylor Swift lyrics because from Pikeville to Paducah, Louisville to London, that won't get it. That's too cute. That won't get it, right? Like
Absolutely.
when you win, you can say that, but when you're not winning, we're not here for that.
Mm.
Because everything that people got upset about Cal, he said the same thing when they were winning. I haven't seen him. We're built for March. Blah 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 blah. Right? When you go
Mm-hmm.
to 4 Final Fours in 5 years, oh, there you go, Cal. But when you lose to Oakland and you lose to St. Peter's, and you talk about you built for March, we ain't trying to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hearing that right now.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to tell Coach Pope his business. He knows more basketball than I do, but there's a lot of questions, and he's going to find it's much harder to get this on the fly in Lexington than in Provo.
That's true. That's true. We'll pause right there because we got to dive back into it, and we see there's comments and all that as well. But our guest is on the line, and I was a little tardy getting him the link, but he is patiently waiting in the BS3 Network Green Room. Friend of the show, been on more times than we can count. A UT Hockey Hall of Famer, always enlightens us on all things NHL and more. Talking about our buddy Craig Bates. Craig, man, what's going on?
Gentlemen, how are we? How are we? I'm looking at the information you were talking about. It's early in the season. I can say this as a New York Rangers fan. It's early in the season for Kentucky basketball. Don't worry about it. They always get there. So you're going to be just fine. Don't be. There should be no rending of garments and gnashing of teeth. Okay.
Not, not yet, but we wouldn't be Kentucky fans if we didn't take it
No,
to the
you
next
wouldn't.
level.
I mean, it's like being a New York Rangers fan is just there's one shoe always hanging over your head. How are they going to screw it up this year? So there's a lot of similarities there. Let's put it that way.
Your New York Rangers, Craig, are 10-9, if I'm looking at it right. Second, third.
I
Let's
was going
see.
to sit
First,
back,
second,
but
third,
this
fourth.
giant knife in my back, Vinny, I don't know that I can do that right now. But yes, they are terrible. Or
Sorry.
as Frank Caliendo would say, doing his Charles Barkley, terrible. They're just
Terrible.
terrible. They're
Yes.
terrible. They're
Mm.
terrible. So, but
I
yeah,
got.
I
Let,
mean, it's
let me.
early. Who knows? The Rangers will do just enough to get in the playoffs and then screw it up in the first or second round. This
Yeah.
is This is life as a Rangers fan right now.
I'm not. I might as well twist the knife again. But if I see little nuggets of hockey and see things I'm going to ask you when we have you on, or am I correct? When did they start the season with 3 straight home games without a goal? Is that
Oh
like?
yeah, oh
Ugh,
yeah, that's right. And
ugh.
they wound up beating the Preds for their first home victory, like 7 games in. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's being a Giants fan, being a Rangers fan, it's just just go ahead and and just smack me upside the head and be like, the only good thing for me was Cam Scattaboo. He gets hurt. Now he's doing WWE, getting ruckuses with people doing WWE. I'm like, dude, where's your leg? I mean, if you can be in there trying to be starting some ruckus with guys in WWE, get your butt on the field, man. I mean, what's going on here? Even Jenny, who's not the biggest football fan, even though our youngest son Nathan plays football, she liked Cam Scattaboo. And I was watching that game when he got hurt, and she just goes, "Do you need a beverage?" So yeah, I mean that was kind of how how we knew the season was going to go on. But hey, you know, if this was about what 2015, Russ Wilson and Jameis Winston, woohoo! Now it's Russ Wilson and Jameis Winston. Okay, which actually cracked me up. I saw a video the other day, and I was like, it was such a New York moment because there was a segment before the season where Jameis Winston was walking around New York, complimenting people on what and he was going up to, you know, NYPD guys, "You're doing a great job." And he's going up to sanitation guys, "Oh, you're doing a great job." Goes up to a New York City bus driver, and I don't know if you've seen this, but leans in the door and goes, "You're delivering people. You're doing a good job." And this New York City bus driver literally said, "Hey, where can I get some good crab legs?" And I'm like, dude. And Jameis just let it go. He just said there's a Joe's Crab Shack about 3 blocks that way. But even then, I was like, good for them for leaving that in there. But welcome to New York, because good Lord.
The thing about Jameis is he's fun. Like
Oh yeah.
you may not win a lot, but he's fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's better than corporate Russ Wilson, as I always call him, because it doesn't matter what you say or do. He could throw 5 INTs and 7 touchdowns, and we'll talk about the brand and talk about his wife and everything else. And I'm like, dude, just have a person. I'm old enough to remember when guys in the NFL had personalities. So and not Antonio Brown. I'm going to Dubai personalities, but
Cousin,
yeah,
another one of your
yeah,
cousins there.
yeah. I was gonna say that's not making the Brown family look good there,
No, well we've
TV.
talked.
But hey, at least it's sad when you're like, oh, I'm going to Dubai because I might get indicted in Miami. Oh, you found me here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm putting things up on social media. I wonder how you found me. Just, just not good stuff.
Well, we've talked about that before. Like when we were coming up in the 80s and 90s and 70s, like the coaches had personalities.
But yeah,
The players had personalities, and you just don't get everybody's more guarded, and you don't
right.
really get to see who these people are, except for Jameis. Jameis, as he thinks it, he's going to say it. Some of it's crazy,
Oh
some of
yeah,
it's profound, some of it sounds profound, but when you think about it, you're like, what?
yeah. I was gonna say, when's your last CTE appointment there, Jameis? So, the one I always go back and laugh about. There was an old clip back in the '90s with the NHL with the Blackhawks before it became the Red Wings Avs. Blackhawks and Avalanche were in the playoffs a lot, and it's one of my favorite ones. One of my old clips I love watching on YouTube was that Patrick Waugh, when he was with the after he left the Canadiens, when he went to the Avs, he had said something about, oh, Jeremy Roenick was complaining about, Jeremy Roenick was complaining that he got pulled down. I don't think he would have stopped me. And then they did a soundbite with Roenick going, yeah, I heard Patrick said that. Ask him where his jock was up in the rafters at Chicago Stadium when I made that move on him. And then the follow up to that was in his very French Canadian accent. Was said, I could not hear what Jeremy had to say because I had my 2 Stanley Cup ring plugging my ear because Ronan never won one. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff that, that just you don't have guys just talking smack to one another. You don't have, everyone's like, well, he's a heck of a player. I mean, Abdul Carter saying I wasn't actually asleep in a meeting compared to, Ken Stabler. Yeah, I drank 2 cases of Bud before a game, kind of a stuff. And that's, I was throwing it to the guy in the middle because I was seeing 3 guys at one time. That's the kind of stuff that, when people talk about the good old days stuff with us folks, now that I'm older than both of you, and I can say that, but back in the good old days of those things, the other one that just immediately popped in was the famous Sam Weish. Quit if you see anybody throwing snowballs, point them out. You don't live in Cleveland and you live in Cincinnati. I mean, that kind of stuff. You just you don't get that anymore, and I kind of understand it because everything turns into sound bites and can you believe this guy said this and blah blah blah. But I mean, that to me, it's like rooting for Walmart sometimes with football teams because it's just like you're rooting for a corporation, not for players as much anymore.
Yeah.
And I need some good old fashioned hate between players in cities. Like Vernon
Oh, yeah.
Maxwell hates Utah. Like it is
Oh,
a
yeah.
it is a deep seated. I
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
talk about it if I knew they had internet in Utah. Like we need that, and we don't
Well,
get that
that's
anymore.
that's the one, the famous one from a UT perspective. When UT was in the Sugar Bowl in '85 against Miami, and one of the Miami players said the only vols he knows is AEIOU and sometimes Y. Now that didn't work out too well because UT wound up beating him, but that's what there's a lot of people that hated Spurrier. I absolutely love Spurrier.
Yeah.
Again, the opposite of a UT one when it used to be that SEC teams that finished second went to the Citrus Bowl, and he said, you can't spell citrus without UT. I mean, you don't get that stuff as much anymore. The greatest one, I think I've shared it before, but when they had that giant fire at Auburn during an Auburn game when they had the auxiliary library that caught on fire and they almost had to evacuate the stadium.
Yeah.
And they had asked Spurrier about it after the game, and he said, "Yeah, that's a shame that Auburn library got burned down. I mean, some of those books hadn't been colored in yet." So, I mean, that to me is what we're kind of missing with and it's all sports. I mean, NHL used to, one of my favorite highlights was after the Rangers won the Cup in '94, which is all a Rangers fan has to live off of anymore.
Yeah.
But they were getting ready to, the Rangers guys are all celebrating, and they're showing the Vancouver guys on the bench. And Tim Hunter, who was one of the goons for the Canucks, said, "Hurry up and shake our hands, you blankety blanks." And they had the camera right on. If you could read lips, you knew exactly what he was saying. But again, it goes back to, you kind of miss that, those things that, now it would be, and, anybody under 25 is going to roll their eyes at me, but, things that are spicy like that, we just don't get that anymore. And that's, that's a big part of it because everything is now, just this company, that company, I got to do a good sound bite, subscribe to my newsletter for more get off my lawn takes. But, come on, it's just, that's part of what makes sports so great is just, that I don't want to say hate, but, just that kind of talking some crap, what you were talking about Utah with Maxwell and everything else. I mean, there's just not that anymore.
Sports
And
hate
it's,
is fine. I
yeah.
don't want to put hate in the world, but sports hate I'm okay with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
That-
good with that. It was, it's just to me, I've never had a Yankees, Eagles, Cowboys. Sorry, Yankees, Eagles, Cowboys, Redskins slash Commanders, New Jersey Devils, Philadelphia Flyers, New York Islanders. No, absolutely not. I mean, there's just certain things that's why I always love that Big Poppy commercial for ESPN when he puts on the Yankees hat, giving a hard time to Yorgi Posada and the mascot for the Red Sox.
Wally, yeah.
Just Wally just like drops all the tapes in his hand and is just like, you know, it's not what you think, Wally. It's not what you think. Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, you have to understand that kind of just disgust with
yeah.
other teams' fan bases to be able to appreciate that.
This is straight out the box. He said, "I'm a catcher. I never use it. I'm a
I
catcher."
never use it. Oh yeah. I
Fresh
mean,
out the
that's
box.
there's certain things that we can count on every time I'm on. We're going to reference old ESPN stuff. I'm going to say two words. I'm going to say Beano Cook. We all know what that means. But I mean, that's part of it is you want the players to feel the same way that we do, but it's not that way anymore because you never know with NIL. Some guy might go to a college team that all major sports. Everyone moves around so much. I think I've told you guys a story. When I was going through stuff that my mom had and my late dad's, he had 3 New York Rangers jerseys, really nice ones. The first 2 he had bought because he liked those players, and they got traded within 6 months. There was a player for the Rangers he didn't like. My dad bought his jersey because he knew that meant the guy would get traded, and he did. I have never seen him happier than that because he said, I'm going to get this jersey curse working in my favor. It was one of the players he didn't like. He got a jersey of him. I was like, Dad, that's expensive. Doesn't matter. Got him out of there. I don't care. That's the kind of stuff that, that we're kind of missing these days. So,
Absolutely.
I don't know for the Cowboys and Niners or whoever else you guys would pick in that, it could be a topic of discussion, but it's that good old fashioned, I don't like that team. I don't like the players on that team. It's just, it's not that same way.
On that note, somewhat, I guess, spicy. This happened a few weeks ago in hockey. And again, it caught my eye. So I got to ask Craig about it. Sharks coach Ryan Worofsky a few weeks ago said I'd give up one of my children for an effing win when I guess he was mad because they were losing. Is that this generation's version of some spicy? And if you're one of his kids too, like Dad really trying to get rid of me just so they can win a game? Like
Dad would probably say, not you, your brother or sister, and then tell that other one something different. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you want to see that happen. You want to see people that are invested in it as much as you are. And, that's the part that, nothing causes depression more than being a Giants or Rangers fan right now. But again, you're just like, you know what? My dad always used to say, at the end of the day, you're cheering for laundry.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's exactly how it is. And that's how it can be sometime. And yeah, there's spicy things. I saw a thing a couple weeks ago about the Micah Parsons trade where he can't be traded to the Eagles or sign with the Eagles unless they get something else. That's more of a Jerry Jones thing. Sorry, Vinny, but that's more of a Jerry Jones thing than anything else. But it's again, he may have drank too much Dr. Pepper when they did the Proseville commercial that had Jerry Jones in it, but it's still
we kick off on Sundays here. We kick off on Sundays.
Yeah, we kick off on, he's not creepy at all.
You're in Pro Town.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, when people get so fired up and TV, I remember when was it Carmen Policy and Eddie DeBartolo wanted to change the helmet logo to have that weird 90s 49ers and people freaked out.
The 49ers.
I mean, that kind of stuff really tells you how much sports, how much these teams that we follow, it's very much a dysfunctional relationship at times because they'll never love you as much as you love them, but you still hope that someday they'll do something good that will make you like okay, it's worth it. It's been since '94 for me as a Rangers fan. I'm just kind of like,
Well,
whatever.
it's been 94, 95 for the Niners and Cowboys too. So we're right there with you.
Mhm.
And we say this all the time, Craig. It's like if you're just into sports for the championships, like that's a fool's errand. Like it's not going to happen enough. Even if you're rooting for the Edmonton Oilers back with Wayne Gretzky, like there's not enough championships to make it worth it. What else are you doing? The experience, the watching your favorite players. Like there's other things that you have to get besides just the championships.
Feeling like, okay, I like this guy. Like that kid that stuck around with the Rangers, Matt Rempe, which to bring it back, that was the jersey that Scatterbo was wearing when he started all that WWE ruckus. He was wearing a Matt Rempe jersey, who's the guy that's 6'7", 6'8", without skates on, that just fights everybody for the Rangers. He at least looks like he gives a crap, and so that's why kind of people have gravitated towards him, because that's old school hockey. And yeah, I mean the Rangers have Zibanejad, they have Panarin, they have a lot of good players, but again, it's also you know how long is this guy going to stay? How long is that guy going to be here?
Mhm.
And it's just it's not frustrating, but it's a lot of same old. And with other sports, with the NIL stuff, with everything else, you're just like ridiculous. I was reading a story on ESPN's website the other day about how fans at Oklahoma State have been trying to make it more fun to be there. So a bunch of them dressed up in banana costumes, and some guy that was like 38 took his shirt off in a section by himself
Mm-hmm.
and started waving it around. And then everybody else started showing up and doing it. When your team's that bad, you got to at least have fun with it. So again, that's, large part of it is I don't always know, you hear that soundbite. Oh, the fans really lifted us up, or the fans did this for us. We need more of that, in my opinion, just because, being happy with a Final Four appearance, if you could even get there. Hi, Tennessee basketball. But if you can go, if you can get to, the Stanley Cup final, if you can get to an NFC or AFC championship game, if you can get to same thing with all the other sports, you're kind of happy with that, and and then you step back and go, wow, I'm happy that we got this far, but we still lost.
Froze up.
What am I doing? Exactly. What am I thinking here? Why do I care so much? But it's kind of ingrained in uh, a lot of people, men and women, that just want to see want to see their team do something.
Mm-hmm.
I had bought my dad a shirt after the Rangers won the cup. They panned the crowd, and there was an older gentleman that was holding up a sign that said, "Now I can die in peace." And they made T-shirts, and I bought my dad one and me one, and now it's ratty and in the closet. And Jenny's going, "Why do you still have that?" I'm like, it's all I got from a Rangers fan. But again, it's that stuff that makes you feel like this could be the time. And then you don't score goals in your first three games, and you realize not going to be this year.
Like that's never been done, right? Starting your
Oh
home
yeah,
fan.
Rangers record. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, just a dubious record. One of those records you don't want.
Dubious is a really nice way of putting it. Let's just put it that way. That could be, these hairs weren't all gray before the NHL season started. I'm not saying that they're because of it, but I'm saying that probably is something that's a part of it.
Yeah, yeah. Just had a few more made their way from brown to gray since then.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
I just go Rangers, 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 Rangers. Okay, yeah, great.
Yeah, yeah.
That and having two kids in college and one in a junior in high school, that also helps to it. But
Mhm.
TB knows what I'm talking about with people in college. So,
Yeah, for sure. For
and yours
sure.
are getting close, aren't they, Vinny?
They're getting up there, 16 and 13. So yeah.
Whew. I don't know how we all look the same, me whiskers notwithstanding, but the kids keep getting older and we keep looking the same. So,
Yeah.
hey, works for me.
That's right. That's right. So man, tell us about like fan gear bar and the brick and mortar part. I saw, the
It's
post
it's
where you,
it closed down. So we closed it down end of August. Long story short, the the lease was up. They tried to double it. I'm like, I'm good. I'm out.
mm,
We sold most of it, which is another good story for me to share with you guys.
okay.
We still have a few things left, but so I don't know, and you guys can keep this in mind. Are you familiar with the show Hoarders at all?
Oh yeah.
So the guy that's on there, Matt Paxton, that was one of the hosts of Hoarders, he has a new show called Filthy Fortunes, where he comes to people's houses and goes through everything. Well, Jenny had reached out to them back in like July and said, "Hey, this might be a good thing, with my dad and brother and everything else." And they came back and were like, "Nah, we're not interested." And then 2 weeks later, we got an email back going, "That producer's no longer here. Tell us your story." Long story short, first weekend of September, they shot an episode of Filthy Fortunes at our house that will run in December.
Oh wow.
Outstanding.
And
Outstanding.
so, yeah, we cleared out most everything. There's been auctions going on. There's a guy that bought a bunch of stuff. We did stuff here. I can't say anything, but this is the TV marketing guy in me. I will share this part of it. So we had been back and forth with the producers and we really wanted to do the show and everything else. And I came up with an idea that we shared with the producers and they had said, "Really?" in a text chain. And Jenny said, "You don't know Craig. If you say this is okay, he will do this." And so they were like, "We got to check with the network." Network said, "If this guy's willing to do this, that's fine." I did it. It will be premiered in the show. I and I'm being obtuse for a reason because the thing that I did, Matt Paxton was a part of it. He was shocked as long with the guys that work with him. They all went, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And so he said, Matt Paxton said, "I can't even tell my wife about this until the show airs." So there's my tease. It's supposed to run sometime in December.
So
That's my tease. So it's going to be worse. So I will let you both know when friend of the show, Craig, has his "what the heck was Craig thinking" moment. But
yeah.
that's okay because when they were here, Jenny was like telling them, "That's just Craig. It's just pray for me." So yeah, so we're just gonna leave it at that. That's my little tease, but it'll be worth. So we already got a message from them that the first edit was great. So the first episode is supposed to run, I think, in December 1st or 2nd. We're going to be on it, but they came out and shot for 3 days at our house. They
So you
found some really cool stuff of my dad's.
mm,
My dad had brokered a deal between the Russian Navy and the Egyptian Navy back in the early 90s to sell submarines to the Russians, and then the Russians would sell those to the Egyptians, and then the Egyptians would give metal for free housing for retired Russian Navy soldiers. So these were built at a base in Russia, and we found a briefcase that had all of these documents from the Russian Army, from the Russian Navy, pictures, a letter from Greenpeace that said this was a great thing.
mm,
So yeah, so we found a bunch of random stuff. We also found my dad when he used to have to travel would always get airline bottles of liquor and then never use them. So we found two giant cases of 1970s and 80s airplane liquor bottles. I will tell everybody as my public service announcement for the day. I opened one up to lift a toast to my dad. Let's just say that everything that wasn't alcohol had evaporated. I was either Kitty Dukakis drinking rubbing alcohol, or I could have breathed fire everywhere. And I just looked up and I was like, Dad, you knew I would do something dumb like that, going back to Jenny's point. And so, yeah, we pretty much sold the rest of them. But I did learn that whether it be glass or plastic, alcohol that's 40 or 50 years old will evaporate the non-alcohol things. So it was my version of Yosemite Sam running around yelling, screaming, my biscuits are burning. But it was more on the upper side because that was just pure alcohol that had gone away. So our house is clean. Everything is clean. We had not let them know. We had let the producers know that I had a store, but they were like, we don't want to talk about that on air. I'm like, that's fine. Where the heck did you get all this stuff? Yeah, we found video game systems. I'll throw you guys back from the 60s and 70s. There was a brand of video game called Fairchild. It was the first cartridge system video game, even before Atari.
Oh,
My dad had two of them still in the box unused because
dang.
that was my dad. And so they had one of the guys on the team that was more of the geeky guy. One of the guys that was one of the the guys that goes through things was a huge sports fan. He told me multiple times that he will never do a show that will be as fun as this because he's in heaven and the geeky guy doesn't have as much geeky stuff as he normally gets. One of the things that I have, and you guys will appreciate this, I had a signed number 99 Fletch Lakers jersey signed by Chevy Chase.
Wow, look at here. This is
So yeah, so as we're going through this stuff, I'm just going, wait, I had that, and Jenny's just standing in the background going, oh dear God. So yeah, so that was that was the thing. So the Fangear Barn website is still up. We have a few things that we basically they partner with an auction site in Cincinnati. I drove a U-Haul up there and took a bunch of stuff to be auctioned off. One of them was a thing of my brother Burke's was a original Tony Hawk skateboard that auctioned off. Then one of the other things that made absolutely no sense, somebody paid $26 for a complete set of the California Raisins figures. Why my dad had those, I don't know. But somebody, we found those going through, and I was like, what is that? Oh, those are the California Raisins. And the younger people were like, what are the California Raisins?
right.
Just don't go down that rabbit hole because it'll just be, why were they using the Temptations? Why were they using Marvin Gaye? The 80s were a weird time. We're just going to leave it at that. So
are you in multiple episodes or going to be one episode?
Just going to be one. There's going to be one episode that's going to be all about, and there was, thankfully, Jenny was, one of the ones that I laugh about when they were talking about the length and breadth of the stuff. One of the producers literally said off camera to Jenny, it might be good if you don't sigh quite as much when we talk about all this stuff that your husband accumulated. She's like, I'll do my best. And I'm like, you need to let her have that because this was ridiculous, the amount of stuff that my dad had, that I had, that my brother Burke had. But yeah, I mean, it was just they kept finding things that we didn't even realize that we had. I didn't realize why they were being made. And the more important question, of course, is why in the world did I buy that? But we're just going to gloss over all that. It's in the past. It's, Terry knows, and Vinny, too. I had a Montreal Expos, Buck Rogers, that's his real name, the old manager of the Expos, I had a Buck Rogers Expos jersey. So,
Wow.
it's just it was like walking into a museum, and that's what it was for these guys because they were just freaking out. And the funny sidebar to that is their sound guy, super nice older guy who plays hockey with a bunch of celebrities in LA because he's a goalie, had said to me, "Hey, when I come in town, if there's any hockey, I'll wear rental equipment if I have to." I got him hooked up, played hockey with him. He played goalie and forward skates, which is not a good idea. The rest of the time that they were here shooting the show, he was walking around like one of those 1920s newsreels because he had so many blisters. But hey, he had fun, got to play hockey. So yeah, it was interesting. So it'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's one of the things that I love what you guys do. I love what we all do with sports is it brings you memories that you can't ever forget. And you'll always know where you were, the last time the Cowboys and Niners won a Super Bowl, last time Kentucky won a national championship. I
Hmm.
mean, it's those things that kind of bind sports fans together, and that's one of the beautiful things about sports is it can drive you insane, but you always have that little bit of hope, unless you're a Rangers or Giants fan, that they're actually going to win something. And so, that's the best part of it. That's why I love what you guys do and why I'm so honored to always be on here because there's names that will bring you back. PB, I know you've had your 90s Kentucky shorts and your
Yeah.
and everything else. So I mean, it's just those things that you remember and that you
Yeah.
bring back and that you never forget.
Yeah. My
So
wife's not a fan, but
Now, and it's just I've told you when Jenny and I watch movies and things like that with the way that my brain remembers everything. Um, she doesn't do it anymore because she's learned, but she would say to me, "Now, who's that actor?" And I would say, "Well, he was in this movie with that person and that person and that person and that person." And then her code to me, which I learned quickly, was when I start doing that, she would just pat me on the shoulder and tell me, "You're pretty." So that would be my sign to stop talking because yeah, it's not gonna be a good ending for anybody. But yeah, that's exactly the way, that my brain works and the way that I have, she'll buy, but she kind of feeds into it. She bought me a Wilford Brimley diabetes shirt and then a Oregon Trail shirt that says "Jump in, you're going to die of dysentery." So again, there's just all these things that you remember, and some of us are lucky to be able to call them up at all times.
so when do we need to have you back on? Before or after it airs? Do we need to just end of December, January?
Once we find out when it'll be on air, I'll let you both know. We're going to have a viewing party here at the house with my mom, who's, she's still herself. I'm not going to say how old she is, but she's older than the bicentennial year. We're just going to leave it at that. With her bright pink hair and Jenny's parents, and we're all going to be here. So it's going to be the surprise that I mentioned will also be news to everybody because we haven't talked about it either.
Hmm.
So it'll be fun. So as soon as I know it's going to be on like Hulu Discovery, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that. And I know, the NHL couldn't be sometimes to me, I love hockey. I love all sports. But there was a story last week that Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the NHL, was saying that they don't know that the ice is going to be ready for the Olympics. Well, you're shutting down the league for 2 weeks, buddy. You might want to make sure that it's okay before you get, hey, we're not going to play.
Mm.
It wouldn't surprise me if the NHL did that because it's the NHL. But yeah, I mean, that to me is symptomatic of everything else that, the NHL two steps forward, 1 3/4 steps back with everything that they do at times. But that to me is kind of the fun part. And I don't know, kind of tangentially, did you all see the video of the championship of the lower leagues of soccer in Canada last weekend, where they played it in a blizzard?
No.
It was one of the greatest things ever. They were actually having the goalies like use shovels to clear out the lines so you could see where the goalie keeper area was. But it was snowing like 1.5 to 2 inches an hour, 3 hours before the game. So some guy did a bicycle kick in the snow. I'm not the biggest soccer fan, but they're out there wearing shorts. They've got snow blowers. It reminded me again, throwback 1982, the snowplow game with the Patriots against the Dolphins. But again, it was great watching because a guy kicks the ball and thinks he's going to lead somebody and just goes and stops like right where it landed in the 3 inches of snow. So it's always fun to watch just different sports like that. But like I said, with the NHL right now, the Red Wings are doing well. Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks are doing well, but it's like everything else. I look at the standings, the Islanders, the Devils, the Hurricanes, everybody above the Rangers.
Mm,
You just go,
yeah, we feel
okay, that's how it is right now. That's how it'll probably stay. They'll make some big dumb move that will get them through one or two rounds of the playoffs, but it's still so early, and you've got the Utah Mammoth now. Thanks
you.
Yeti for not allowing them to use the Yeti name. It's fine. It's just you get a lot of people going on, and Jenny told me just walked by to bring our dogs in. She told me to tell you both hi,
Okay,
and
Jenny.
yeah, she's waving at you. The dogs are all coming in. Sweetheart, I told them about your reactions to uh, all the stuff that we had for the show. So she just goes, "Oh yeah," and is walking away, just shaking her head. So she knows.
Yeah.
But that's look to me. That's the good part for the NBA, for college basketball, you know for everything, for the NHL right now. It's still early. It's what you can hang your hat on at least, or just go, yeah, what time, when does this season start? Don't get me started about baseball. I was really hoping the Blue Jays would win just to stop all the Dodgers overpayment, but baseball to me has kind of jumped the proverbial shark. Uh, Fonzie's somewhere on a baseball diamond wearing his leather jacket about to jump over a shark tank. But, it's just, it's how things are. Baseball has managed to screw themselves up. And, I've had that conversation. I used to read box scores. I used to know, me being a Red Sox fan because my dad played in the minor leagues. I couldn't tell you two or three players that play in the Red Sox right now. And it's just, it kind of sad to see that that's the way it is with baseball, but NFL, NBA, college sports, I mean, that is one of my favorite things is not plugging Hulu, but we have a Hulu subscription. On Saturday, I might watch Marist play Lafayette in football for a few minutes just because I'm like, you know what? I don't care anything about these teams. Let's see what somebody could do. And that's one of my favorite parts with watching small college stuff too, is just there's always something interesting, different going on, but it's always going to be NIL. It's always going to be, the amount of stories I've seen in the last week about what's Lane Kiffin going to do. Lane Kiffin's going to do whatever Lane Kiffin wants to do. They flew his family to Baton Rouge. They flew his family to Gainesville. Nothing against those two cities. I don't know that I would have yelled that as kind of oh, here's what Baton Rouge is like. Here's what Gainesville's like. You're going to live outside of town because, these cities aren't worth a whole lot. That's me as a Tennessee. You guys as Kentucky, you get it. And then also there's certain teams, again, we talk about it. I don't necessarily have anything against Texas A&M, but come on, South Carolina. what the heck were you doing?
No, I was
just
happy to see that. That was good. That's good for Shane Beamer
yeah. But it was
because
also he screwed it up at the end of it, and it's just like, it's just you go back and you're going,
uh,
what in the world? And the funny sidebar to this, so my mom, big New York Giant, she was a New York Giants fan. She and my dad used to have to sit on different levels of their house because she hated Eli Manning. My dad loved him. They would scream at each other about Eli Manning. So she has a new friend that she, goes out to eat with, and he's a big UT football fan. And every weekend after she's over there watching a game with him, she'll go, I can't believe people are so into this. What is wrong with people? And I'm like, Mom, you just weren't around it growing up. You just have no idea. New Mexico State gets a first down, and this friend of my mom's like, oh, that's it. They're terrible. And she's going, it's a
yeah,
first down. They're winning by 28 points.
yeah.
What's wrong with you? And
Mhm.
I'm just like, she's assimilating into it, but she doesn't understand it, which is fine. But I've told her, don't get into it about other sports because it's not going to end well.
Well, man, we appreciate you hopping on.
Absolutely, my
Congratulations
friends.
on the show, and can't wait to see it
I've
once
not
it's
seen
there.
it yet, so hopefully I won't come across as another one of the hoarders. I'm not promising anything. There's a lot of evidence to support that, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun for you guys to kind of see, just when they came in and saw all the piles of stuff that I'd had at the store. There may or may not have been a dear God uttered by one of his people,
Yeah.
but it was still, it was fun. It was kind of fun to do this, and you always want to see how you portray across on TV. I have a feeling I may pull out the old Friends line about, the camera adds 10 pounds, how many cameras were on you. It's just that kind of stuff. But like I said, the tease for the payoff will be great. But absolutely, you let me know. I'll let you both know when the show's going to be on. We could talk about it. You could be like, Vinny, you were at the store, you knew how it was. The weirdest thing is that they turned the old Fangir Spartan space into a women's boutique. I think all of the wives and significant others that had to endure being at Fangir Barn and all going, it's my turn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm good with that. I don't know exactly how that's working out, but yeah, there's me, I always have stories. So there's always stories that will come out of it. And
Yeah.
that's the best part about it to me is you do stuff, you try it, you make it happen, and then we can all laugh about it, and I can certainly laugh about myself later. So
That's it. We appreciate you telling us about it. And
absolutely, gentlemen. Hey,
congratulations, man.
you guys are family. We love you, and we're just saying you don't have Thanksgiving plans. The Cassidy Bates, now that there's not all this stuff here, we have room for you. So feel yourself both cordially invited to come over, and we can just go in the corner and swap stories the whole time.
There you go.
All right.
Sounds
Thank you,
good,
Craig.
man. I
All
always
right, guys,
appreciate
great
you,
to talk
man.
to you.
You
You
too,
guys be
Craig.
safe. Have great holidays.
Yes,
I
sir.
love you both like family, and y'all stay
Back at you.
safe.
All right,
Back
take
at
it
you. You
easy.
too, Craig. Thank you, man.
All right, love you guys. Be careful.
You too, man. It's that guy, Craig Bates,
Yeah.
or his
Always a fun time.
yeah, about to be watching him on Hulu or wherever this show gets aired at. So that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, he's a second friend I've got that got on one of them shows. One of my
Oh,
good friends, Scott, was on House Hunters way back when.
oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
I've never watched. I see people. I know it's popular. I see people tweeting. They'll see the hashtag all the time. I've never really
Yeah.
watched it, but I know it's a big show.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, my man Scott was on it. That made it cool for my girls. My girls love that show, and so they thought that was pretty cool. It's been a little bit of time now, but
Yeah.
going back to football, A&M and USC Junior.
Yes.
What a
Yes.
look, man!
Yes.
South Carolina. now that Virginia Tech has their man in Franklin,
Yes.
does South Carolina move on from Little Beamer?
Oh, and I mean Franklin could do some stuff there at Virginia Tech. He's in the ACC, and if,
Yeah,
I got some buddies up there that they're Tennessee fans, but they say everybody up there seems to be happy that that they got him. Beamer, you always talk about hating outside the club. I was loving the fact that they collapsed, because I mean the Aggies are weird and all that, and I don't really, I don't love them, but if they're gonna go undefeated, go ahead and have your year. South Carolina up 30-3, and then to see Beamer collapse. And look, maybe I'm hating because South Carolina has one SEC win. They're 1-7. That one came against we all know who. So
yeah.
I was loving the collapse and the meltdown. So I was like, good for you, Shane.
Well, and they had the Texas Trooper bump
Yeah.
into. Hey
Oh,
man,
mm,
like these. It looked like he was going to ask him why y'all here, and it's like, why are you here? We football players on the football field. Like like whatever. That was a wild situation.
yeah.
But A&M coming back on South Carolina, they may get him out the paint. Bama lost against Oklahoma. That's 2 years in a row. We
Yes.
talked about Pope losing to Louisville. Don't lose again next year,
Yeah.
because that's not. Hey,
Yeah.
There's a reason Bill Curry was ended up coaching in Lexington and left Tuscaloosa. That's losing to Auburn 3 times. Like that's not going to happen. But
Mhm.
still, I don't know who's going to win the Heisman. Like, I don't know these dudes. Craig was talking about not knowing people on the roster. Like, I don't know any. Like, whoever wins it, I have no idea. It's gonna
Oh
be
yeah.
it's like be like, is it Ohio State's quarterback? I don't know who that
Mhm.
is off the top of my head. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know any of these people.
Yeah,
So
it's hard for me to venture outside the SEC. That's where I usually just kind of keep up with what's going on. That's my little soap opera every week. Who's in the conference? What's going on? And it's hard to venture out. And the Heisman isn't what it used to be anyway. I mean, congrats if you get nominated and get to go to New York, but it doesn't have the same. This sounds like a old hater. It don't have the same sizzle and excitement and pull that it used to have.
well,
You know.
it's one of those things with the Heisman. It's like the NFL MVP. It's become the quarterback award.
Yeah.
And uh, I was looking one day. It's been a little while now. I got bored one day. I just wanted to look at the people that get invited, right? And
Hmm.
up until the early 2000s, it was running backs and quarterbacks. You'd have wide receivers, like, but anymore there'll be years where it's just all 4 or 5 quarterbacks,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I just refuse to believe that defensive players can't have that imp. If Ndamukong Suh from uh, Nebraska can't get it as a defensive
Hmm.
player, right?
Yeah.
Like the NFL MVP, a punter won it, but if Jerry can't win it, putting up 22 touchdowns, like, what's it gonna take?
Hmm.
That
Yeah. That.
that's it's crazy. Uh, so again, I don't know who won it last year. Travis Hunter, is that who won it last year?
I think so. I
Yeah,
think so.
but there's so many quarterbacks in a row.
And yeah, that's not. And it's the Davy O'Brien Award for quarterbacks anyway. They got their own award or
Yeah,
something. So.
they're going. I think they're gonna have to do something to spice this up, because it's just the quarterback of a real good team. Uh,
Hmm.
and it's not a new phenomenon, because I was watching college football and saw a commercial for the Heisman House, which I love, and I was
Yes.
like, "Who is this dude in a 13 jersey? Who is that?"
Uh-huh.
Gino Toretta.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
You
All
in the
those
club, bro. You in the club.
all those quarterbacks Miami had, and that's the dude that won.
That's right.
Sure. Shout out to Bernie Kosar. Got a liver transplant. Seems to be doing well. I saw that on social media. We talk about Hurricane, uh, uh, quarterbacks. I saw this clip. Speaking of hurricanes, your man Michael Irvin was talking to Up in Smoke podcast, like
Mhm.
why he wore number 47 at Miami.
Uh-huh.
He said that's what they gave me, and he's working. He said he went to go see Jimmy Johnson. He said, hey, can I get another number? And Jimmy Johnson said, no. He said, because watching you play is like you coming in like a 747. You look so graceful and everything. He said, yeah. He said, yeah. So he said, I made 47 work. He said, then we got to Dallas, and I asked him, why'd about the 47? And Jimmy said, you believe that? You bought that? Oh my goodness. I need to go through my history and share it with you because I can't do Michael Irvin justice. But you
Yeah.
know how he gesticulates.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was pretty funny. Like a 747.
Yeah.
Really, coach? Yeah, I'm going out there. Then they get to the Cowboys. No,
Yeah.
no.
Just fed you a line, man. Just
Yeah. But shout out to the Kentucky volleyball team. 9 in a row.
man.
I did have it. They were 15-0 this year. Only lost 9 sets on the season in the SEC. Texas, won here championship fairly recently, and with Texas joined the SEC, people kind of thought that this was gonna be difficult for Kentucky. Not saying it was easy, but Texas did not win last year. Did not win this year. This is the first time since I think I saw 2002 that Texas has not won a conference championship in 2 years in volleyball. So what Coach Skinner is building is indeed special.
Yes.
Shout out to the men's soccer team. They're in
Yes.
St. Louis.
It's St. Lou in the Lou. That's right.
Yeah. Shout out to Nelly
Yes.
from the Lou, and I'm proud.
Uh-huh.
They're doing their thing. Shout out to undefeated UK women hoops. Friend of the show, Clara Strack, is
Yes. Killing.
I've seen her name pop up because I'm in that women's basketball space. I'm trying to get better about that. But it's people. It's one thing when Kentucky fans are retweeting. It's one thing when, but it's when national folks are like, oh, okay. Coach Brooks is signing people. Iowa folks are mad. I forgot I think Greenway, Madden Greenway, who they
Yeah.
signed,
Uh-huh.
is like her folks is from Iowa and played at Iowa, and Iowa folks was mad. So I'm reading through some threads like what they got in Kentucky. I want to be like, let me let y'all. I know
Yeah.
y'all got a Caitlin Clark, but let me tell you about basketball at
Yeah.
collegiate level. Let's settle it down.
Yes.
Let's bring it down a notch.
Yes.
Okay, Kentucky's Kentucky. I ain't gonna have no slick talk
Thank you.
up in here.
And y'all got Audie Crook. You just had Caitlin. Now you got Audie Crooks. So
Hey, Audie
Hey.
Crooks is my barber's like cousin. Like there's a relation. I forgot. I need to get that. Hey, I need to take a picture because he got a Caitlin Clark and an Audie Crooks jersey hanging up.
Yeah.
Women's basketball at the barbershop, man.
Yeah.
That's great. They still have the giant Muhammad Ali poster
As they should.
because, again, when I got my first haircut, you from Kentucky? Yeah. They got black folks in Kentucky? And I'm like,
We say the same thing about y'all.
one? Like, you got Muhammad Ali up on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's that one.
What they say? They didn't. Oh, we didn't know he was from here.
I said specifically, he's from Louisville. And specifically, he's the second greatest alumni of Louisville Central High School. My father, James Brown, being the first. Also, 13 years? No, 12 years ago. I need to check. We actually got our first credential for the Austin P football game. So we made it big time. I will share that on social media.
Yes.
We're doing some big time stuff.
Yes.
I do miss covering it.
Yeah.
But I also like turning off the game and going to bed. So I also like just watching without. Don't get me wrong, loved every minute of it. But,
Absolutely.
Kind of nice, especially.
Absolutely.
But especially, I was getting some PTSD flashbacks when they were like, "This is Kentucky's worst halftime deficit since when?" The Zion Williamson game. And I was like, oh, but hey, you can still see my face on them clips in the second half. I'm right there, man.
Yes, yes.
And I got people blowing
Uh,
up. Like, are you there? Yeah, I'm here. Are you watching this? Can you believe this? Sir, sir. I am here on the Duke end in the second half when it got to be like 20 something points, whatever it got to be. I can hear them in their huddle. And it's not nice stuff they're saying about Kentucky. The mascot told Tina and I, your team's not very good. And I was like, I didn't think mascots were supposed to speak.
Yes.
But I understand, and I told people, I understand you had a rough night watching it. I understand you might have been in the building in Indy when it happened. But I assure you, the Duke Blue Devil did not come up to you and say, your team's not very good. And I was like, that's
against the rules, man.
I'm like, you ain't supposed to talk. I didn't want to be like Billy Madison fighting the mascot.
Breaking protocol. He breaking protocol.
For y'all to see me in a fist fight with a Duke Blue Devil.
You broke protocol.
Yeah.
Go back.
Very good.
Go back to the Heisman. Ann Anderson, friend of the show. She follows on Twitter. She was in YouTube watching. Said, why can't Peyton present a quarterback award, then have one to present to each position group? So kind of diversify the Heisman up a little bit, sounds like.
Well, and they've got all those awards, though, right? Like you said, they've got Davey O'Brien. They got Ray Guy. They got Matt
Doak Walker and all that.
Yeah, they got the lineman award.
Yeah.
Outland
Joe Moore.
Trophy.
Oh, yeah, Outland. Yeah.
They've got all these specific awards. They even got the Johnny Unitas Award for, I think it's for senior quarterbacks that they do out of Louisville. So they've got all these different groups, which is, again, why the Heisman should be for best player. But what does that even mean, right? Like everybody's got their own kind of thing. Speaking of that, I know we rounded up. LeBron made his debut, year 23, and decided just to have 12 assists last night. Like, all right. So all I'm saying is Luka can be the dude. And if LeBron just needs to be a piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
And they got DeAndre Ayton actually playing. Because I was on these airwaves talking about, I don't know if I want that dude on my team.
Yeah.
I told my wife when they were first saying Lakers interest in DeAndre Ayton, I had to explain to her why I did not want that guy on my team. And now, here he is.
That's it. I'm watching my Rockets right now. They are in Cleveland. Taking care of business, 50-37. 3 minutes left in the first half. Craig going way back. You referenced Gino Torretta in the commercial. He threw out the Nebraska-Miami, Eric Crouch, Gino Torretta.
Crouch won the Heisman? He did win the Heisman. Right? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Did Scott Frost win it too? Or just Crouch?
I think it was just Crouch and
Tommy Frazier.
I don't think Tommy Frazier won.
Tommy didn't win one, Lord.
And Lawrence Phillips before he went. Well, I don't know.
Let's see. Devontae Smith won one. He was like Travis Hunter, and then you go back 2020, Devontae Smith. He broke up the quarterback streak.
Yeah.
Smith, Eric Crouch, 2001.
Okay. Because Gino was 93, I think.
Yeah, 90. Oh, that's weird.
Or
maybe
92.
they missed it. Charlie Ward, Gino Torretta, Salam in 94. Maybe it is Torretta 93.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see. Tommy didn't win it. Oh, look like.
Yeah.
What else we got? Oh, yeah, Chuck McNarick Award for defensive players. Yep, that's
Yeah.
So,
but of course,
Mike Rozier. Wow, that's old school right there too.
We talk about Mackey for tight ends because I'm right here, tight end you. They just breed tight ends out here, man. Iowa lost a close one to USC this past weekend. Tough game. They've got 4 losses by a combined like 13 points.
Ooh,
it's rough. Played USC and Oregon really, really tough. But it'd be like that sometimes.
That's it.
But the Cats beat Tennessee Tech. Cutter Boley, freshman of the week, 3 straight. Like, hey, man, they had 500. Big one on Saturday against Vandy.
It's 3:30.
And then
Three.
noon against noon Eastern
Yes.
against Louisville,
Mhm.
and Louisville hates their squad. Like I think they're 7-3, and they hate their squad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, what do y'all think you're supposed to be?
I mean, they always sputter down the stretch. They just didn't even they didn't even wait for us to do it. You know, they let California. Who else beat them? Clemson. Let Dabo come in there and get them.
Clemson beat them in the most ridiculous. Like I've never seen a team give away a game like that on some stupid stuff. It goes back to I don't know if you remember the Bengals Steelers. I think it was a playoff game where Pac-Man Jones and the one dude for Cincinnati had like back-to-back 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalties to get Pittsburgh closer to kick the field goal. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, what are we doing, y'all?
And speaking of those Bengals, Jamar Chase supposedly didn't spit on anybody.
Hey, man.
So did not spit in Jalen Ramsey's face at all. I didn't spit on that man.
If you spit, and look, does Jalen Ramsey get a little cheap shotty? I think he does. But you settle it differently. You don't spit. That's you spit. You should be ready to fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Jalen Carter and one Bill Romanowski welcome him into the fraternity now. So
come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what else is crazy. I don't know if you've seen this new thing in some of these SEC stadiums where they got fans right behind the bench. Why point out Auburn, where Kentucky play Auburn? Like there's a bar. I'm like, I can't think of a worse place in the stadium to be. Benches are gross, man. Like, and then you can't see any. Like, I don't. Yeah. I don't want to have any deal with that. Yeah, I'm right here by the bench. Oh God.
Yeah.
Like, and again, just my luck. I'm down there talking, not paying attention. Here comes somebody full speed. Man,
Yeah.
I ain't built like that, man. I'm not built for the on the field, on the court thing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got another fun one in here, man. We had to lick the wounds. That wasn't fun. Hopefully the Cats become more fun in the coming days and weeks against good teams, because that's, you mentioned how at the end of Cal, it was always, well, let's see what they do in the tournament, because are we going to get out of the first weekend? Are we going to get to this week? Well, now it's this team. Are we going to be competitive against good teams? Because that's where we are after these first two benchmark tests. And so Gonzaga, St. John's, North Carolina, Indiana, 4 chances before conference play. Are we going to be better? Are we going to get pushed around? Are we going to show that we can go toe-to-toe or not? We'll find out soon, because, it's right around the corner of the next one. We got a couple more cupcakes, and then it's North Carolina, December 2nd. So, and Gonzaga in Nashville. And look, we've went in detail before. We don't have Quaintance back yet. He's still hurt. You already mentioned how Malachi should probably be taking minutes from BG. We talked about BG before the season started, about what we hope maybe could we get out of year 2 BG. And I'm just saying, when they play Gonzaga, EK has been there as long as LeBron been in the league. So he in his 23rd year at Gonzaga. He was a problem when Cal was there. He was a problem last year, even though we came back and beat him. EK is a problem. That dude, that lefty, can stretch the floor. He can go to work with his back to the basket. And right now, Malachi's the best speed we got, but he is not. Look, experience. EK see a true freshman coming out.
Food.
We are high on Malachi's potential, but EK is like, look, man, I've been out here doing this since you was in 6th grade.
He played with Adam Morrison in them. or Santangelo. Was that?
Yeah.
I think when they first busted on like a 99. They first
Dan
made that
Dick
elite.
Al.
There
Dan
you
Dick
go.
Al.
There you go. Those dudes.
Man. Yeah, so Mark Pope has a lot of work to do, a lot of like where do you start? But it's
You
stuff
got
to
to find
fix,
something.
stuff to fix all around. Like when you mentioned them hoarders, like where do we start? You know, when the family come in, where do we start trying to clean up? Where do I get the 20 cats and the cat pee out of this room first, or all of the clothes and the mouse poop and all that? Where do I start? That's kind of where Pope is right now. Where? Because you got to fix everything and quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, man, I guess we put a bow on this one. Appreciate you. Congrats to your Niners continuing to do work. And, you know.
Purdy look good, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Y'all just.
And
Huh.
it's crazy. Kittle, he joined the 500 catch, 50 touchdown club for the Niners. He's behind, of course, Jerry and Terrell Owens. Like,
Oh.
I keep seeing, like, I think that dude's going to Canton. So,
Who, Kittle?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. Because they still ain't really a prolific throwing team, and he's still doing that. So, yeah, they're physical.
Well, and as a runner or as
Yeah.
a run blocker,
Yeah.
the Niners are 2 yards per carry better with Kittle on the field since he's been there. Like, that is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Good stuff. Good stuff. A lot of fun. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate Craig Bates. Appreciate Terry TV Brown. Appreciate y'all who listen and watch, and BS3 Network for letting us be here. Be back next week. Go Cats. Be safe going to the Ville and back. Tell Mom B we say hello. And we'll do it again 7 days from now. See y'all later. Cats Talk Wednesday.